The reality of living with Jesus and participation in his kingdom are indescribably beautiful and valuable. These two similar parables of the hidden treasure and the costly pearl illustrate for us that a life devoted to the majesty and the beauty of Jesus and the beauty of his kingdom, that they're willing to reorient everything to pursue it. Right? That when someone tastes the glory of the kingdom, when the citizenship gets changed from darkness to light, that the only right response is that every single part of your life gets reordered in light of that. It would be like if you were told that there's this plot of dirt for $5,000 across the city, that there's buried in there $25 billion. What would you do? You would stop at nothing to get that land, right? Nothing. Nothing would come in the way of you attaining that field. And Jesus is telling you this story. Hey, when you taste the glory of life with Jesus and life in the kingdom, it would be absurd for you to respond in any way less than have all of me. Everything that I have, all of my life, all of my relationships, all of my thoughts, all of my desires, all of my time, all of my money, everything about me, my vocation, my travel schedule, my relating to unbelievers, take it all, because it is a treasure of incomparable worth. That's what these parables are meant to fill us with. Hey, the small, seemingly insignificant, painful, costly following of Jesus is going to be worth it. It will be worth it. These parables demonstrate for us the surpassing riches of Christ's majesty, his worth, his beauty, his splendor, and life with him in his kingdom. They illustrate that seeking out the treasure of the kingdom costs us everything and is worth giving up everything, right? What you could say it differently. You could say that this illustrates that life in God's kingdom is comprehensive. There isn't a speck of your life that doesn't come up under his lead. There's not a speck of your life, not a way of your thinking, not a way of your living, not a way of your time and your money that does not come up under his rule and reign. These parables, look at letter D here. They're not designed to teach us that we purchase life in the kingdom through costly obedience. I do want you to catch this, right? It'd be easy for you to go, well, I go sell everything so that I can buy life in the kingdom. That's not what they're teaching. They're illustrating that the surpassing value of life with Christ in his kingdom in comparison to every other thing that we might find value in, right? So every other thing that we might hold on to or order our life around pales in comparison to life in his kingdom. We're given life with Jesus as a free gift, apart from our works. Part of experiencing life in Christ is the gift of new citizenship in his heavenly kingdom. We don't earn this by obedience. We receive this by faith. Yet for those, look at page 3 here. For those who experience life in his kingdom, there must be a wholesale reorientation of your values, your pursuits, and your desires. Okay, so you're given the gift of new citizenship. And the only way you can get that gift is by faith. You can't be obedient enough. You cannot be good enough. You cannot reach high enough. You cannot clean yourself up enough. It's literally impossible. The only way for you to be made a citizen of the heavenly kingdom is that God, in his scandalous mercy, says, here's a gift, and you say, please give it to me. The only way that I can receive it is by saying, I have nothing to offer in exchange for it. The only currency I have is need and lack and poverty. That's all I have to exchange for it. And he says, that's exactly what you got to bring. Believe, and I will give it to you. So we're given this as a free gift. Yet, when we experience this, all of our lives have to be reoriented around that gift, around his values, the things that he desires for us to pursue, the things that he desires for us to orient our lives toward. I was thinking of this funny story this morning. A few years ago, I was in Austin, Texas, hanging out with a couple people, and they were bemoaning this like wave of Californians moving to Texas. Right? Because these Californians are seeing the end result of some of these policies that they're voting for, right? They keep voting this way, they keep going this way, and these policies are starting to create a situation that they don't want to live in anymore. And so they go, well, it's not like that in Texas. So they up and they move and they go and they can deal with the big hats and the big belt buckles and the bravado. So they go and they move. And I'm talking to this person, he goes, but here's the problem. They aren't stopping voting like Californians. What they don't realize is that if they want to come and reap the benefits, they actually have to change the way that they see the world. They have to see things differently. They have to want different things. And here's what this parable is telling you. You cannot hope to gain the benefits of, or the peace of, or the blessings of, or some of the joys of the kingdom, and it not radically reorient every single way that you view the world. You don't get to have part of it and then still vote like you're a worldly, card-carrying, kingdom of darkness person. You have to reorient your voting structure. You've got to embrace the values and the ways of Jesus' kingdom at every single area of our life. We don't get to hold on to one and go, you don't get to touch that. Because I like that one. That one makes me comfortable. And that one makes me happy. That one makes me feel safe in the world. Jesus goes, come into my kingdom freely. And then all is mine. All is mine. Jesus exhorts his disciples elsewhere to seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. This means that Jesus calls us to be singular or wholehearted in our commitment to him. Throughout the Gospels, I want you to see this letter H. This pursuit is pictured as costly and consuming. Jesus tells his disciples, if anyone comes after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. This is a vision of absolute, complete, total, comprehensive rulership. Do we want life in the kingdom? Yes. Do we receive it freely as a gift of God's grace? Yes. Do we ask God by his grace to empower us to lay down our lives fully that we might find life in him? Yes. We see this in Paul, letter I. Paul gave up everything. He sold all because he was captivated by Jesus, by his glory. It made the difficulties, the trials, the hardships of this life seem pale in comparison. He says in Philippians 3, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Jesus. I've suffered the loss of all things, and I count them as rubbish in order that I may gain Christ. So we see in these parables this reorientation of how we see God's kingdom, and that pursuing it in this way or responding to it in this way is going to be worth it, right? Like, you're not going to show up and be put to shame, right? Like, you're not going to go and say, you told me to lay down my life, to embrace your means. The treasure is going to be worth it. The treasure is not going to leave you wanting. There's not one thing that you could hold on to in this life that if you gave it up, when you stand in the presence of Christ and are a full receiving participant of his kingdom, you won't say it pales in comparison. If I would have tasted this more clearly, I would have thrown it away faster, quicker, and more wholeheartedly. That's what Jesus is inviting us to.